Dear Diary, I've been a paralegal for 3 years now. Right after I graduated from college, I was hired by attorney Eddie Robinson, whom I interned for while I was an undergrad. Never have I ever come across a case where the verdict should have been blatantly incontestable. It was clear from the first meeting that Anthony was innocent. He didn't seem capable of taking a life. The look in his eyes, the way he worded his confession, and his body language made it evident that at best he was a bystander at the scene of the crime. This kid was obviously innocent, but was determined to take the blame for this heinous crime. Why? The question that kept me up at night was, who was he protecting? Then it dawned on me. I did an extensive background check on our client. He was a remarkable kid, graduated at the top of his high school class, now a college kid. Anthony worked hard and was a good employee. All the character witnesses we sought after assured us that this was completely out of character for him. Our client tried to convince us that he had some type of mental break or snapped due to the victim's assault on his sister. But that too was hard to believe. The guy had been through a lot, but was still maintaining. Anyone could see by the way he carried himself that he was mentally strong and stable. He even refused to use some of the money his late parents left for him and his sister to pay for his legal expenses. He wanted to make sure that money went to his sister and her baby. That's when it became perfectly clear just who Anthony was protecting. So, even though we were his court-appointed defense team, Attorney Robinson and I took on Anthony's case pro bono and appealed the case on his behalf. We were determined not to see this innocent young man go to prison for a crime he did not commit. We were not getting the answers we needed from Anthony, so we decided to get the answers we needed directly from the person he was protecting. We knew his sister Jada would never admit the truth or give us any type of information other than the written statement she gave the officers on the night in question. We had to get her to talk one way or another. It was more to this story, and I could feel it in my bones. There was some type of deal made, and I couldn't help but believe that my client was getting the short end of the stick. So me, being the research queen that I am, I found exactly where Anthony's sister Jada was going to be that Friday night, a month after her brother's hearing. Where else? The local bar, trying to drink away her guilt. It was her birthday, and she was getting twisted. It was the perfect opportunity for me to get exactly what I needed. I heard she frequented this hole-in-the-wall establishment and that they hardly carded anyone. We needed to appeal her brother's case, and we needed the evidence to be epic. I wasn't sure of what I was walking into when I entered Woodrow's bar that Friday night, but I was wired and I was ready to play my role. Jada had plenty of alcohol and a guilty conscience, and that was always a great combination for someone like me who needed answers. This was my chance to get close to Jada and get the evidence I needed to help free her brother. Even if Anthony had given up on himself, I hadn't. As I entered the bar and scanned the room for Jada, I saw her already deep in her pity party for one. I had a brief conversation with the bartender, explaining that I needed a couple shots of tequila and then to keep the water shots coming at my signal. I sat close by, waiting for the perfect opportunity. I didn't have to wait very long. Jada was dying for someone to talk to. You could see it written all over her face. She actually spoke to me first as I received my first shot. She asked if I was there to drink away my sorrows as well. Before I could answer, she asked about the scar on my right cheek. She wanted to know if it was a gift from some no-good man. I could tell this woman had a story to tell, so I played along and told her it was. Even though the scar was from a hiking accident a few months ago, my scar was the exact end that I needed. Jada began spilling the tea about her seemingly perfect man who became a perfect nightmare after their baby was born. She spoke about his abusive ways and how he had threatened to kill her and their baby if she ever left him. The more drinks she had, the more she talked. She told me about everything, even about the death of their parents, which I already knew due to my own research and interviews with Anthony. I could tell how much she loved and depended on her brother. There was also a sense of envy there as well. She knew he loved her and her child and would do anything for them. And Jada explained exactly how she took advantage of that. She started confessing the plan she made to receive her inheritance earlier than she was supposed to. The wire I wore was coming in quite handy. When her confession was getting to the good part, Jada paused after taking her last sip of Hennessy. She had run out of money. I told her the bartender was a good friend of mine and would put it on my tab as long as we switched to tequila. I needed something clear. Jada agreed, and the bartender poured the first shot right in front of us. He then convinced us to move to the table at the back of the bar, where he started to bring us drinks. For Jada, he brought watered-down tequila, and for me, just plain water. Jada was too lit to even notice. After Jada took her next shot on me, the liquid courage she thought she needed to continue worked like a charm. By the end of the night, I had a slight buzz and Jada's entire confession on tape. She seemed relieved to tell someone, to get the whole situation off her chest. She even thanked me for listening to her. She knew she was too tipsy to drive home, but said she would walk and didn't live far. But I called her an Uber instead to make sure she got home safely. I had played my role and kept my composure. I'm sure she believed she would never see me again. Monday morning, I went to my boss, Attorney Robinson, with the tapes and motion to appeal. I even cited where it states that in the United States, a confession is not inadmissible just because the defendant was intoxicated at the time of the confession. Due to the watered-down shots, Jada was not substantially impaired. I even had prepared a written statement from the bartender if needed. The shots she did have did not impair her thinking or interfere with her free will of describing the events in question in great detail. After hearing his sister's confession tape, we were able to appeal Anthony's case with his permission. Jada was summoned back to court on her brother's case. The look on her face when she saw me sitting as a witness in the court was priceless. Jada was charged with the murder of her child's father, Malik Wright. Her brother Anthony received time served and 5 years probation for lying under oath. Anthony received full custody of baby Bella. Jada requested to have her portion of the inheritance used as a monthly stipend to give to her brother to help take care of her daughter Bella. However, Anthony refused the stipend and decided to put it in a trust for baby Bella. This case ended the way it should. As I stated before, the verdict was blatantly incontestable. Anthony was a great kid with a big heart who didn't even have a parking ticket. He needed someone to fight for him, so I did, and I'm glad I did. My commitment to justice paid off tremendously. Always, Stacy.